This is Breakfast with Sally Nugent and Ben Thompson.
Now, Alzheimer's specialists have described the results of an experimental drug trial as historic and a breakthrough in the treatment of the disease.
Yeah, it's called donanemab, and early tests have shown that it can slow the progression of Alzheimer's by a third in patients who are in the early stages of the condition.
Full results of the trial are due to be released later on today. Well, let's talk now to Dr. Richard Oakley from the Alzheimer's Society and Paul Lindsay, whose father Richard was diagnosed with the disease 6 years ago. Morning, both.
Good morning.
Morning.
Paul, just tell us how this dreadful disease has affected your family.
Yeah, I mean, Dad's been a very fit individual over the years. He actually did the London Marathon at the age of 58 in 3 hours 13, which was
Wow.
phenomenal. So to get into his 60s, and Dad's been diagnosed with Alzheimer's for 6 years ago. So it's been very quick changing. Dad's always, as I say, been very physically fit, but it's just so sad to see the regression, you know, and the way it's affected the whole family, and particularly my mother, who's ended up, you know, giving a lot of care to him. We give a lot of support, and we're so proud of the Alzheimer's Society for what they've given us, and certainly the research that they're doing to help families as we move forward.
And we know it's not just those who are tackling the condition, it's families that are often caring for these people too. What impact does it have on you and your mum?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, we were lucky that we have got a larger family and we're able to offer support with him. And my sister goes out walking several times a week with him, and as do I, give mum a bit of a break, so to speak. You know, and really he's always very happy, but it's just so sad, as I say, to see the effect on him. And you know, there's so many people that have reached out to me and said, you know, this is exactly what happened. I see my dad as like a silhouette who's gradually just walked off into the distance. My dad was my best man and he's my best friend. So to lose him in that way is really quite sad. And that's why I'm doing my walk from Land's End to John O'Groats for Alzheimer's, to thank them for all they do.
Richard, I know the news that's coming out today about this particular drug has been years in the making. How significant is it?
Yeah, we believe this starts a whole new era for Alzheimer's disease. So dementia is the biggest killer in the UK. It's one of the biggest killers in the world. And Alzheimer's disease is responsible for about 60% of all the cases of dementia. And it was discovered about almost 120 years ago, and we've seen limited progress until then. But in the last 12 months, we've had 2 trials, one announced last November and one this afternoon. And these trials show they remove a protein called amyloid from the brain really effectively. And that seems to indicate it slows down the progression of the disease, and it keeps people being able to do things like drive a car, manage finances, talk about current affairs, maybe even recognise family members for longer. And that is so important. So we really believe this is the beginning of a whole new era.
And for so many diseases, we talk about treatment early, detection and then treatment. And it's so true in this case, isn't it?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So these drugs have only been given with people with mild and early Alzheimer's disease, or even MCI, this kind of pre-condition. So it's so important we diagnose early. We know we don't quite do that in the UK at the moment, so there's a lot of work to do. But equally, we've never had these treatments coming through before. And yes, there are challenges, but you can also see them as opportunities. We now have a real sense of momentum to really get behind. And Alzheimer's Society actually funded the research 30 years ago. That's now led to this breakthrough. So we know that research really can make a difference, and we're beginning to see the fruits of that now. And that's why at Alzheimer's Society, we are so excited about this opportunity.
Paul, I know this particular research won't be able to help your dad.
Yeah, of course, and that's one of the reasons I'm doing my charity walk, is that I want to be able to offer them as many funds as possible to help them with the research and Dr. here, you know, to improve lives of people as they go forward. As I say, my dad's journey has been way too quick, and I really hope that others can receive this drug in due course and have a better quality of life as they move forward, and longer lives, you know.
And Rich, where could this get us to? I know it's early days. These are just trials. There are side effects that need to be looked at. But where potentially could this lead?
Yeah, it's a really important question. So, I mean, there are side effects that need to be monitored, and we do need the regulatory authorities to look at these drugs, look at the data and make the right decisions. But these drugs remove amyloid from the brain. This protein builds up really, really quickly. And at the moment, we're waiting until the protein is built up for maybe 20 years, started causing damage to people's brains, and then we're giving these treatments. So if we want to speculate about what could happen, if we could give these drugs even earlier and they can clear that, maybe we can see greater prevention, greater slowing down of the condition. And so that's what the Alzheimer Society is really campaigning for. Can we do more research to understand what's happening, get diagnosis even earlier to understand what is happening, look at these side effects? But that's why we believe this could even be the beginning of the end. It's a long journey, but this is the first step, and sometimes the first step is the most important.
So you say Alzheimer's affects 60% of the total diagnosis of dementia cases that we have at the moment. How would this drug, could this drug help the other 40%? So
yeah, so it's really, you need to have build up this protein in your brain, and so we don't believe that other cases have that necessarily. You'd have to look, so probably not. But what we do hope is by getting a diagnosis of Alzheimer's disease or not, you get an earlier diagnosis of what is causing your dementia. And we know already, we've done surveys, that more than 90% of people, when they get that early and accurate diagnosis, they get better quality of life, better care, better support. So we believe it'll help everyone.
And Paul, I mean, we don't know at the moment, do we? But there are clearly lots of worries about whether it is hereditary. And this could make a huge difference.
Yeah, it could, because, you know, obviously if something, you know, if this continues to get developed and it becomes, as, you know, as the doctors described, as, you know, it could be massive for people, because, you know, you can almost like, you know, plan, NHS can support people and families, you know, with that genetic line, you know. So, yeah, the news is absolutely incredible. And you know, just, yeah, I'm speechless.
Oh, well, it's lovely to talk to you both this morning, Paul, Lindsay and Dr. Richard Oakley. Thank you both very much indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you.